It wasn't a great day to be playing soccer at the Waterloo Row pitch in Fredericton. Ditto for baseball at Morrell Park. In fact, Thursday wasn't a day for doing much of anything along the St. John River in Fredericton, where water levels surpassed the flood level of 6.5 meters. One man who was watching the waters rise Thursday with great interest was Barry McKnight. McKnight is the chief of police for Fredericton and is the head of the city's emergency measures organization.
I've said all along, I'm very hopeful, and a lot of what we're seeing with respect to those variables which are so difficult to get a handle on, the weather and the snow that we saw through the winter was consistent with 2008, but the spring has been very different weather-wise, right? We've had the cold nights, warm days, we've had precipitation, but it has not been an extraordinary amount. We haven't had some of the high temperatures like we saw last year. I would not bet on anything. This, in the end, is up to Mother Nature, but at this point, what I'm seeing would lead me to believe that unless there's a significant change in the weather, we're not going to see what we saw in 2008.
Even though McKnight thinks this year's flood won't be a serious threat to the city, he says it's still important to plan for the worst. McKnight, along with the rest of the Emergency Measures Organization, have been planning for this flood for 3 months now and have improved communications from last year's response, as well as summoned a large team of volunteers in the event that the river's rise worsens. He says preparedness is the most important thing when it comes to events like a flood. Devin Ford is a fourth-year St. Thomas University student who lives in downtown Fredericton. Last year's record floodwater stopped just short of his house, and he said he's worried it'll happen again this year.
Yeah, I'm worried about my apartment flooding. I mean, I don't want to have to go to my room in a canoe or scuba gear, so I'm worried about if my apartment does flood, I'll be worried, but then again, all of my stuff of importance is safely put away somewhere, so.
While Ford may not need scuba gear, even a few inches of water could create havoc in his house. McKnight said being prepared is the most important thing for all Fredericton residents.
Yeah, well, preparedness is the message, and it is the theme of all of our messages. They need to be, if you live in a low-lying area, you need to be prepared. Look at the information package that's going out to you this week. Go to the city's website if you have internet access. Go to the city's website. Keep an eye on Riverwatch. Be prepared. If you have to evacuate your home, now is the time to make those arrangements with family and friends so that you have a place to stay.
Even though McKnight says he has been preaching preparedness for months now, he's not naive.
I would like to think, and we've seen evidence from those people who live and experience some degree of flooding every year, that they're pretty good at this, that they have regular things that they do. So we see some evidence of preparedness by those folks. It would be logical that they be prepared. But in other areas of the community, if I'm in a random group of 25 people out on the street, and if we ask for a show of hands, are you prepared? Do you have your emergency kit for the next 72 hours? I don't know what we would see for a show of hands. My intuition is that it's not very high.
McKnight says an emergency kit should include things like flashlights, food, and bottles of water. He, like everyone in Fredericton, though, is hoping it won't come to that. For Stu Journalism, I'm Chris Fox.